Book title, Meadows Ridge. Chapter 1, The Call of Adventure. Meadow Thompson stood at the edge of her small town, taking in the familiar sight of her childhood home. The sun was just beginning to set, casting a warm glow over the picturesque landscape. She could hear the familiar sounds of her four brothers playing in the distance, their raucous laughter echoing through the air. As Meadow watched her brothers, a sudden restlessness stirred within her. She had always felt a calling, a yearning for something more than the simple pleasures of her small-town life. Her dreams were filled with visions of grand adventures, of exploring unknown lands and meeting fascinating people. Yet she knew that her dreams were worlds away from her reality. But now something had changed. A few months ago, Meadow had stumbled upon an advertisement for a job in Yellowstone National Park. The opportunity to live and work in such a breathtaking place had sparked a fire within her. It was a chance to embark on a new chapter of her life, to leave behind the familiar and embrace the unknown. Despite her excitement, Meadow couldn't help but feel a pang of fear. The thought of leaving her family, her brothers, whom she had grown up with, filled her with a mixture of longing and anxiety. Yet she knew deep down that this was an opportunity she couldn't pass up. She believed that her faith would guide her through any challenges that lay ahead. The following day, Meadow bid farewell to her tearful family. Her brothers clung to her, promising to write letters and eagerly awaiting her return. She assured them that she would send updates and would always be just a phone call away. As Meadow embarked on the journey to Yellowstone, her heart felt heavy with both anticipation and trepidation. The open road stretched out before her, promising a world of possibilities. Chapter 2, A Leap of Faith. Meadow always dreamt of a life beyond the small town she grew up in. The thought of exploring new places and meeting new people exhilarated her. At the age of 20, she finally gathered the courage to take a leap of faith and pursue her dream. Yellowstone National Park had always been a place of wonder and enchantment in Meadow's mind. Its vast landscapes, majestic wildlife, and awe-inspiring geysers seemed like a world waiting to be discovered. So when she received a job offer at one of the park's lodges, she knew this was her chance to make the leap. With a heavy heart, Meadow had said goodbye to her four brothers, who were her constant companions and protectors. Joshua, the eldest, gave her a tight hug, his eyes filled with pride and concern. "You've always been the daring one, Meadow. Take this opportunity with both hands, but promise me you'll be safe," he said. "I promise, Josh," Meadow replied. Her voice filled with determination. She knew embarking on this new journey meant leaving her comfort zone behind, but she also knew it was time to spread her wings. As Meadow boarded the train bound for Yellowstone, uncertainty mixed with excitement inside her heart. The hum of conversation and the rhythmic clattering of the train's wheels soothed her nerves, reminding her that change can be just as thrilling as it is terrifying. She found her seat near the window and watched as the familiar scenery of her hometown gave way to the rolling hills and vast open spaces of the countryside. The beauty of nature outside mirrored the fear and anticipation growing inside her. The conversation with her brothers kept playing on her mind, reminding her of the leap of faith she was taking. The train ride was long, but Meadow welcomed the journey. It gave her time to reflect on her decision and to reaffirm her faith in herself. She knew her path would not be easy, but she believed that her faith in God would guide her through the challenges that awaited her. Finally, the train arrived at the small station near Yellowstone National Park. With her bags in hand, Meadow stepped onto the platform, taking in the fresh mountain air, tinged with the scent of pine. The lodge she would be working at was a short hike away, and as she made her way through the wilderness, she marveled at the grandeur of her surroundings. The lodge came into view, a rustic cabin nestled among towering trees. Its welcoming facade and the sound of laughter drifting from inside enveloped Meadow in a warm embrace. She knew in that moment that she had made the right decision. Stepping into the lodge, Meadow was greeted by her new colleagues. Sarah, a friendly woman with a warm smile, approached her. "Welcome to Yellowstone, Meadow. We're thrilled to have you join our team. Are you ready for this adventure?" Sarah asked. Meadow smiled back, her heart filled with excitement. "Absolutely ready, Sarah. I've taken a leap of faith, and I'm ready to embrace every challenge that comes my way." Sarah nodded approvingly. "That's the spirit, Meadow. We're like a family here, and we'll help you every step of the way. But remember, your faith will guide you through the unfamiliar, if ever time comes that might be hard." Meadow couldn't help but feel a surge of gratitude. She knew that she was not alone on this journey, and that her faith in herself and in a higher power would prove the way for success. Chapter 3, The Enchanted Cabin. Meadow took a step into her assigned small, cozy cabin, nestled deep within the forest. As she crossed the threshold, a sense of peace washed over her, as if the walls themselves emanated an enchanting aura. The cabin seemed to understand her, and she felt an immediate connection with her new home. The inside of the cabin was rustic yet inviting. A crackling fireplace stood against one wall, casting a warm glow that danced across the wooden floors. Beautiful paintings adorned the walls. The scent of cinnamon and pine hung in the air, further enhancing the ambience of tranquility. As Meadow settled into her new surroundings, she couldn't help but feel a sense of harmony with nature. She craved the presence of the wild, and the cabin seemed to provide access to the very heart of the wilderness. She eagerly explored the surrounding woods, her footsteps guided by an invisible force. It was as if the forest itself was welcoming her. With every step, Meadow discovered new wonders. She encountered deer delicately grazing in the meadows, their eyes meeting hers in a silent acknowledgement. Squirrels would scurry alongside her path, chattering excitedly as she passed. She even stumbled upon a family of foxes, their playful paws leaving traces in the fresh fallen snow. One afternoon, as Meadow sat by the cabin window, she observed a snow-white owl perched on a nearby branch. Its striking yellow eyes seemed wise beyond its years, and it turned its head as if to communicate. Meadow couldn't help but feel a connection to this majestic creature. "Hello, wise one," she whispered softly, feeling a warmth of understanding pass between them. Days turned into weeks, and Meadow's bond with nature grew stronger with each passing moment. She discovered an inner peace she had never experienced before. The cabin became a sanctuary, a place where she could escape the chaos of the world and reconnect with her true self. The solitude of the surrounding wilderness provided Meadow with ample time for introspection. She marveled at the delicate balance of nature, how every living thing depended on one another for survival. She began to understand the profound interconnectedness of all beings, and the importance of living in harmony with the earth. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue across the landscape, Meadow ventured onto a nearby ridge. She found herself overlooking a picturesque valley, the beauty of which took her breath away. She closed her eyes and allowed the energy of the earth to flow through her, savoring the profound peace that enveloped her entire being. In that moment, Meadow realized that she was not merely a visitor in this enchanted cabin. She was part of something much greater, a thread woven into the very fabric of nature. And she vowed to protect and cherish this incredible gift she had been given. Chapter 4, Love's Unexpected Arrival. Meadow stood at the edge of the shimmering lake, mesmerized by its ethereal beauty. The water sparkled under the warm summer sun, casting dazzling reflections across her face. It was her sanctuary, a place where she sought solace and a deeper connection with God. Little did she know that destiny had something extraordinary in store for her on this day. As Meadow closed her eyes, a gentle breeze rustled through her hair, carrying with it a sense of serenity and hope. She couldn't explain why, but she felt a profound sense of anticipation. It was as if something truly remarkable was about to happen. Just as she was about to leave, Meadow noticed a figure approaching from the corner of her eye. She turned around to find Luke, a newcomer to her small town, standing under the shade of a towering oak tree. His warm brown eyes met hers, and Meadow felt an inexplicable connection. It was as if they had known each other for an eternity. Luke, too, was captivated by Meadow's presence. He had moved to the town seeking a fresh start and had found solace in nature, much like Meadow. He had seen her from afar, always with the Bible in her hand, and he couldn't help but be drawn to her. He believed it was a sign, a nudge from God to introduce himself. "Meadow, right?" Luke called out, his voice carrying the weight of nervous excitement. Startled, Meadow turned towards the sound of her name. She saw Luke standing there, a genuine smile adorning his face. "Yes, that's me," she replied, a touch of shyness in her voice. "I've seen you here often, resting by the lake. I hope I'm not intruding," Luke said, taking a step closer. Meadow smiled warmly, her initial shyness dissipating. "Not at all. It's always nice to meet kindred spirits in this world." And so, their conversation began. Weaving from shared beliefs to personal stories of faith, Meadow discovered that Luke had recently moved to the town, seeking a fresh start after a difficult period in his life. Luke, in turn, learned of Meadow's unwavering faith and her deep connection with the beauty of nature. As they delved deeper into conversation, Meadow realized that her initial connection with Luke was evolving into something more. There was a spark between them, an undeniable magnetic pull. It was as if their souls were dancing to the same rhythm, longing to intertwine. Days turned into weeks, and Luke and Meadow's friendship flourished. They spent countless hours together, taking long walks in the woods, discussing their favorite scriptures, and exploring their shared passions in life. It felt effortless, as if they had always known each other. One evening, as the sun set over the lake, Luke mustered the courage to ask Meadow out on their first official date. His heart raced as he looked into her eyes, searching for a sign that she felt the same way. "Meadow, I can't help but feel that you are meant to be in my life. Would you do me the honor of joining me for dinner tomorrow evening?" Luke asked, his voice filled with a mixture of vulnerability and hope. A smile spread across Meadow's face, her eyes reflecting a mix of joy and surprise. "Luke, I can feel God's hand in all of this. It would be my pleasure," she replied, her heart skipping a beat. And so, love's unexpected arrival had found its way into Meadow's life. Chapter 5. The Trail to Self-Discovery. The morning sun peeked over the horizon, casting a golden glow across the vast expanse of the fields and towering mountains of Yellowstone National Park, which has become a custom sight for her to see each new day. Meadow stood at the trailhead, her heart pounding with excitement and nerves. After weeks of training, on this day was marking the beginning of her new life as a hiking guide, a role she had dreamed of for years. As the first group of adventurers gathered around her, Meadow felt a surge of newfound confidence. "Good morning, everyone," Meadow greeted the group with a warm smile. "I'm Meadow, and I'll be your guide today. We're in for an unforgettable journey through the wonders of Yellowstone." The group exchanged glances of excitement, their eagerness mirrored in their eyes. Meadow began leading them down the trail, skillfully navigating the path she had walked countless times before. The familiar scent of pine trees filled the air, and the sound of rushing streams provided a symphony of tranquility. As the group hiked deeper into the wilderness, Meadow couldn't help but be amazed by the beauty that surrounded her. The vibrant colors of wildflowers danced in the gentle breeze, and the songs of birds reverberated through the dense foliage. This was Meadow's sanctuary, her true home, where she felt most connected to her authentic self. Engaging in conversation with the adventurers, Meadow discovered a shared passion for nature and an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. They marveled at each other's stories, recounting past adventures in different corners of the world, showcasing the diverse perspectives they brought to the journey. Daniel, an avid outdoorsman, spoke of his experiences scaling treacherous peaks in the Himalayas. "There's something about pushing your limits in nature that truly allows you to discover who you are," he reflected. "It's like a mirror that reflects your inner strength and resilience." Meadow nodded, her eyes bright with understanding. Exactly, she agreed. Nature has a way of stripping away the unnecessary layers we often carry within ourselves, revealing our true essence. Throughout the hike, Meadow shared her vast knowledge of the park's geothermal wonders, pointing out iconic landmarks such as the mesmerizing Old Faithful geyser and the vibrant Grand Prismatic Spring. Her voice filled with excitement as she spoke of the park's unique ecosystem, the delicate balance between predator and prey. As the day wore on, Meadow noticed a transformation within her own self. With every step she took, she shed the insecurities that had plagued her for so long, embracing the confidence that came from pursuing her passion. She realized that she was not only guiding others through the trails of Yellowstone, but also guiding herself towards self-discovery. As the group reached the summit of a stunning overlook, a breathtaking panorama unfolded before them. The vivid colors of the changing leaves painted the landscape, contrasting against the deep blue sky. The adventurers stood in silence, captivated by the grandeur that enveloped them. Meadow took a deep breath, her heart overflowing with gratitude. "This is why I do what I do," she whispered, her voice filled with reverence, "to experience these moments, to witness the beauty of nature, and to help others discover their own path of self-discovery." The hikers turned to Meadow, their eyes filled with awe and admiration. In that moment, Meadow knew she had found her purpose. She had unlocked a brave new world of exploration and self-discovery, not only for herself, but for those who dared to follow her into the wild. As the group began their descent, Meadow's steps were lighter, her spirit lifted by the knowledge that she was exactly where she was meant to be. She no longer feared the unknown, but rather embraced it, knowing that in the wilderness she would always find her truest self. And so the journey continued, with each new trail unveiling new layers of self-discovery. For Meadow, the call of the wild had become a lifelong journey of exploration, growth, and a never-ending quest to seek the beauty that lay within both nature and herself. Chapter 6, Anchored in Faith. As Meadow and Luke continued to deepen their relationship, they found a life in their shared faith. Their unwavering trust in God became the anchor that helped them weather the storms of life. On a calm and sunny afternoon, Meadow and Luke embarked on a small boating adventure. The tranquil waters mirrored their hearts, reinforcing the sense of serenity they found in each other. As they floated gently downstream, the rays of the sun painted a radiant path on the water, as if it was a reminder from above, guiding them forward. Luke, a tall and sturdy man with a kind smile, glanced at Meadow and asked, "Do you ever find yourself in awe of the power of our faith? It seems to me that it has become the cornerstone of our relationship." Meadow, her blue eyes twinkling with conviction, nodded. "Absolutely, Luke. Our faith in God gives us the strength and courage to face any challenge that comes our way. It keeps us grounded and focused on what truly matters." Luke's eyes scanned the horizon, taking in the vastness of nature before meeting Meadow's gaze again. "You're right, Meadow. It's as if our faith has connected us to something greater than ourselves. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?" Meadow smiled warmly and reached for Luke's hand. "Yes, it is, and I'm grateful every day for this connection that we share." As the day went on, they found themselves drawn to a quiet corner of the lake, away from the bustling crowd. Sitting together on a moss-covered rock, they closed their eyes and began to pray. The gentle rustling of the wind through the leaves of nearby trees provided a soothing soundtrack to their conversation with God. "Dear Lord," Meadow began, her voice gentle and secure, "we come before you today to ask for your guidance and strength as we navigate through this journey called life. Please help us stay anchored in our faith, especially when faced with challenges that may test our resolve." Luke added, his voice steady and resolute, "We pray for the wisdom to make the right decisions and the courage to step out in faith, and even when the path ahead is unclear. May our love for each other and our unwavering trust in you be a testament to your grace and power." Their prayers intertwined, their hearts beating as one, their souls soaring toward the heavens. The presence of God was palpable and enveloping them in a blanket of peace and reassurance. As they concluded their collective prayer, a sense of renewed purpose filled their being. With the innocence of newfound love, Meadow and Luke leaned in, their lips softly touching in a tender first kiss. It was a moment that would be forever etched in their souls, a promise of a love that would stand the test of time and overcome any obstacles in its path. They opened their eyes, finding both excitement and joy in the understanding that their connection with God would always be a guiding light, illuminating their path and helping them overcome any obstacle they would encounter. They held each other's hand tightly, embracing the knowledge that they were not alone in their journey. They were anchored in faith, standing strong against the storms, excited for their newfound love for each other. Together, Meadow and Luke embarked on thrilling expeditions, trekking through the dense forest, climbing towering peaks, and observing the magnificent wildlife that called Yellowstone home. The scent of pine continued to fill the crisp air, welcoming Meadow back to soon-to-come memories of her training days ahead in the park ranger program, and the new adventure that awaited her with Luke now by her side. Chapter 7, The Family Reunion. Meadow stepped off the train and was greeted by the familiar sight of her childhood home. The scent of wildflowers and fresh air filled her senses, reminding her of the days she spent running through the fields with her 4 brothers. She couldn't help but smile, knowing that she had returned from her adventures in Yellowstone a changed person. Her brothers, Joshua, Ethan, Liam, and Daniel, were eagerly awaiting for her at the platform. The sight of them brought a wave of emotions to Meadow's heart. It had been months since they last saw each other, and she couldn't wait to share her extraordinary journey with them. As they walked back to their family home, Meadow animatedly recounted her encounters with grizzly bears, her hikes up treacherous mountain trails, and her magical encounters with the geysers and hot springs of Yellowstone. Her brothers listened intently, hanging onto her every word. Meadow's newfound confidence radiated from her as she spoke, a remarkable transformation from the hesitant and shy girl she had once been. Throughout her time in Yellowstone, she had faced countless challenges, both physical and emotional, but it was in those moments that she discovered her inner strength, her resilience, and her ability to overcome any obstacle that came her way. Back at home, the family gathered around the dining table. Meadow's parents, Susan and Richard, were eager to hear about their daughter's experiences as well. They had always encouraged their children to explore the world and learn from new adventures. Meadow's tales from Yellowstone were a testament to the power of embracing the unknown. Over the course of the evening, Meadow engaged in heart-to-heart conversations with each of her brothers. She shared not only the thrilling parts of her journey, but also the moments of doubt and uncertainty she had faced. It was in these vulnerable moments that Meadow's brothers realized the depth of their sister's courage. Joshua Scout, the oldest of the siblings, listened intently as Meadow described the moment she encountered a grizzly bear. His eyes widened, amazed by her bravery. "You've grown so much, Meadow," he said, shaking his head in disbelief. "I never knew you had it in you to face such danger." Ethan Q., always the practical one, asked Meadow how she managed to navigate through treacherous trails. Meadow explained how she relied on her instincts, learned to read maps, and sought guidance from experienced hikers she met along the way. "It's not just about following a path, Ethan," she said. "It's about trusting yourself and embracing the unknown." Liam Taryn, the quiet one, shared his admiration for Meadow's determination. "You inspire me, Meadow," he said softly. "I've always been afraid to take risks, but hearing your stories makes me believe that anything is possible." Lastly, Daniel Blue, the youngest, looked up at Meadow with awe in his eyes. "I want to be just like you, Meadow," he said enthusiastically. "Will you teach me how to be brave?" Meadow's heart swelled with love and gratitude for her brothers. Their unwavering support and genuine admiration were the greatest reward she could ask for. In that moment, she knew that her faith-filled journey in Yellowstone had not only transformed her, but had also touched the lives of those she held dear. As the evening came to a close, Meadow looked around at her family, filled with a profound sense of purpose. She had embraced her true self, armed with the lessons she learned from her adventures in Yellowstone. Her journey had taught her the value of stepping into the unknown and pushing past fear and doubt, and of embracing the limitless potential within her. The unknown no longer held any fear for Meadow. Rather, it held the promise of growth, discovery, and the endless possibilities with Luke. Chapter 8, A Serendipitous Homecoming. As Meadows returned to the park had finally arrived, she marveled at the towering mountains and lush fields that stretched out before her. Meadows stood at the entrance of Yellowstone National Park, the iconic wooden sign welcoming visitors with its bold, carved letters. She took a deep breath, letting the cool mountain air fill her lungs. The anticipation and excitement bubbled inside her as she stared at the vast wilderness that lay before her. "I can't believe I'm finally back, Luke McKinney, and I can't wait to see you," Meadow whispered quietly to herself. With her backpack slung over her shoulder, Meadow stepped into the trail that led deeper into the park towards her newly assigned cabin. The trail wound through towering trees, their branches reaching out as if to welcome her back. Birds sang in harmony, their melodies filling the forest. The woods seemed to whisper secrets of adventures that laid ahead, promising excitement and enchantment. As she walked along a vibrant trail, a sudden movement caught her eye. She turned her gaze towards the bushes and saw a fox peeking out from behind a tree. The fox's vibrant orange fur contrasted against the greenery, making it a striking sight to behold. Feeling an immediate connection with this beautiful creature, Meadow approached it cautiously. "Hello, little one," she said softly, extending her hand. "What brings you out here today?" The fox seemed curious but hesitant. Meadow sensed its uncertainty and decided to remain patient. "Don't worry, I won't harm you. I'm just here to explore and appreciate the beauty of this place too." To her surprise, the fox slowly emerged from its hiding spot and sniffed the air, seemingly intrigued by Meadow's presence. Meadow extended her hand again, allowing the fox to sniff her fingers. Delighted by this small interaction, she gently scratched the fox's ear, her heart swelling with joy. "I think I'll call you Whiz," she said, her voice filled with affection. "We're going to have quite an adventure together, sweet Whiz." Whiz, now more comfortable with Meadow, began to lead her through hidden trails she had never seen before. Walking side by side, they traversed the landscape, discovering more hidden hot springs, bubbling mud pots, and serene lakes along the way. Suddenly, a distant rumble caught their attention. Meadow and Whiz exchanged curious glances as they drew closer to the source of the sound. They found themselves standing before the awe-inspiring Old Faithful geyser. "Look, Whiz," Meadow exclaimed, her voice filled with excitement. "This is one of Yellowstone's most iconic attractions, Old Faithful. It erupts with powerful bursts of water and steam at regular intervals." Meadow eagerly searched for a safe spot for her and Whiz to witness the spectacle, her anticipation building. She positioned herself near a group of park rangers who were preparing to measure the geyser's eruption. As the countdown began, a young ranger named Ben approached Meadow, his blue eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "Are you ready for this breathtaking sight?" he asked, his voice exuding warmth. Meadow nodded eagerly, her eyes fixed on the geyser. Before long, Old Faithful erupted, shooting water and steam high into the sky. The crowd erupted in applause, captivated by the sheer force and beauty of nature's display. "Amazing, amazing," Meadow gasped, looking down at Whiz. "Nature never ceases to amaze me." Ben smiled appreciatively. "Yellowstone is a true wonderland. It's fascinating to see how everything works in harmony here, just like your bond with this cute little guy." Meadow blushed, realizing how closely she had grown to the fox. Ben, recognizing the bond, nodded approvingly. Nature has a way of bringing people and animals together, revealing the interconnectedness of all living beings. As Meadow pondered Ben's words, she couldn't help but feel the overwhelming sense of truly belonging. She knew that there were countless adventures still waiting for her, and Luke, and Whiz. And with newfound determination, Meadow couldn't wait to dive deeper into the park's treasures. She would continue her journey through Yellowstone in her new role as a park ranger, forever grateful for the serendipitous encounter that set her path alight with wonder. and the companionship and newfound love she had ahead with Luke. The end. A short story written by Jules Mahalo. That's me. All for the glory of one Father, dedicated to Meadow, whose light in her heart lights up the world around her, demonstrating the true empowerment of love. Mama J. January 19th, 2024. Thank you for listening and for subscribing to my amazing online book family. Jules.